they were really close on, right? And they made him a good offer, and he just decided that he would rather go to Dallas, in part because they are championship contenders. No state taxes there, a whole bunch of reasons. His father was actually the most disappointed Laker fan of all that Klay didn't pick the Lakers. But sometimes that's going to happen, right? You're not going to get everyone, and you're not going to be everyone's first choice. Normally, we see an active plan B, plan C, plan D from a front office. If plan A doesn't work, we didn't see that from the Lakers. Now, you don't have to make a lot of noise to be an effective general manager. Sam Presti moves in silence like lasagna, right? He's that kind of G, and we don't see what he's going to do until he does it, and then bam, he pulls something off. So maybe Rob Pelinka had all kinds of discussions, and we don't know about them, but we didn't hear very much about other guys that other teams did go after very aggressively, that other teams did work out complicated sign and trades for, that sort of thing. The Klay Thompson deal ended up being a 6-team deal just to get all of the different factors right, and the Lakers were not involved in those kinds of discussions. That being said, I am not ready to fry the Lakers front office here because there is a long time between now and the trade deadline. And there is nothing wrong with seeing what this team is, seeing what difference J.J. Redick is going to make, seeing if Gabe Vincent or Jared Vanderbilt can make significant contributions and be healthier, and see who's available in February to try to make some tweaks. And that's where LeBron taking a minor pay cut comes in. It keeps them in a category that allows them to do what they need to do before the trade deadline. I don't think any of the names you read would have turned the Lakers into title contenders. So given that, I can't fry anyone in the front office, but I do think it's interesting that we didn't see them able to do what we saw other front offices do.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. They're like the Dallas Cowboys doing free agency. Didn't do anything, right, Skip?
True.
You mentioned that they made Klay an attractive offer. What would that attractive offer be for a team that many people think won't even make the playoffs?
I mean, I think they would have made the playoffs with Klay Thompson. I think Klay Thompson knows that. Would they have been what's considered a top 4 team in the West? I can't say that they would have necessarily. So therefore, you can't say it's a huge strikeout that they didn't get him.
All right, see, I think it's a strikeout that they didn't get him because what did they set their eyes on? They set their eyes on Klay Thompson. Yeah. So when you try to date somebody and you don't get that date, you lose. That date went on and said, oh, I like the way Kyrie and Luka look. I like the way Jason Kidd looks. I don't like the way the Lakers look. I'm at home within 30 minutes of driving to work every single day. My father is a 2-time NBA world champion. Why not just go home to the Los Angeles Lakers? Well, the Lakers didn't obviously do enough to get him to say, I want to be a Laker. That's why he decided, I want to be a Mavs. Then when you talk about DeMar DeRozan, you talk about James Harden. I don't know, James Harden probably wasn't ever really going to leave the Clippers. Probably was just playing the money game. And I understand LeBron, we're calling it a pay cut because it's $2.6 million.
Over 2 years.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah. He can go buy another watch with the $2.6 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like LeBron James is moving from $50 million down to $6 million. It's not one of those. And I understand he's doing it from an organizational standpoint to help them stay out of tax issues with the NBA and all the things that go on with this new collective bargaining agreement. I understand that. The bottom line is one of the things that he said is we have to improve this roster if I'm taking a pay cut. We have to improve the roster. Well, that hasn't happened. So now you look and there's still Trae Young that's out there. We thought about Dejounte Murray. He left. He went somewhere else. So we're like, what's left? Now you say, well, we get into maybe some mid-season trades. Well, hell, by the time we get to the mid-season trades, the season will probably be over.
That didn't happen with Dallas. Dallas at the trade deadline this year made a bunch of moves, and they ended up in the NBA Finals. So there is still time. This crop of elite free agents, or the best that was available this summer, however we're calling them, didn't work out, but there will be other guys as they go forward. The question is, how equipped are the Lakers to compete for those kinds of players? It kind of depends on who they're going up against. If you're a team like Utah, if you're a team of like San Antonio, if you're a team like Oklahoma City, unbelievably still has more assets, even after the moves they've made, than almost anybody else. So, you know, we'll have to see. You said, why didn't he pick the Lakers? There are some things baked into being a Laker right now that aren't as attractive as some of the other teams. They still haven't really made up for the Russell Westbrook trade. So when you look at the Dallas Mavericks roster versus the Lakers roster, there's some differences. They still haven't been able to advance in the playoffs since they won their title. And if you look at what Dallas did, that makes them attractive for Klay. And there's also
You're
possibly
saying all the things that are right.
But those aren't things that the Lakers did wrong at the free agency table this summer. Those are more just sort of big picture things, and some of them are self-inflicted. But the idea that Klay in this moment didn't pick them, it to me is not the same as Dan Hurley, when he also did not in the end want to date you guys. Because, hey,
he's not good looking anyway.
As you pointed out, they didn't throw him a Godfather offer. To me, they didn't make a mistake with Klay at the free agency bargaining table this summer. Klay just didn't pick them. However, there are some longer-term issues that went into that, and some of those are just what happens.
How you get your man, Skip? You get your man because you go ahead and you give them what they're looking for. Everybody that, went in another direction, they all got way more money than what the Lakers have to offer.
But that's,
so what makes you think these dudes is even going to come to you for 20 cents on the dollar when they can get a full compensation from other teams that's better than you right now?
That's the baggage you're carrying from what has happened in the last, few seasons. And it is what it is. And these Lakers are going to have to deal with it all the way through the trade deadline. The thing to me, though, is time is getting short. And the Lakers have talked about we're going to focus more on development. That's what J.J. Redick and Rob Pelinka talked about at J.J.'s first press conference. We want to develop for the long term. It's harder to trade for players right now. That has been the messaging from the Lakers office. Here's what I have to say about that.
But everybody else can trade for them except us.
Well, here's what I have to say about that. You are not going to develop a player that is going to be as good as LeBron James. I can guarantee you there is nobody on the Lakers roster going into this season who is going to turn out to have a LeBron James career. So therefore, to me, if I was that front office, I would not be focusing on development right now. I would be focusing on maximizing the last year or two that you have of LeBron.
I agree with that.
I would be trading away.
That's press conference talk, though. We develop and play. That's press conference talk.
I mean,
you got two of the top 10 players in the NBA. There's no way, Skip, that you're sitting back and saying, we're going to develop. If he was going to develop, then you should trade LeBron and AD and then just get a whole bunch of young dudes and develop.
Well, look, you got to do both, obviously. And JJ is going to help the development of some of the younger players. But I saw Cleveland make this mistake at the end of LeBron's run in Cleveland. That, we got to plan for the future. Remember, they had to hold on to that, quote, Nets draft pick and all of that stuff. They weren't willing to make the moves in LeBron's final season to keep him being competitive for an NBA title. And what we're seeing with the Lakers right now is they haven't made those moves to have a compete now NBA Finals team. Some of it may be trying to be more responsible in the wake of the Russell Westbrook trade.
Agreed.
However, to me, you maximize this year or two and you worry about development later because no one is developing until LeBron.
Okay. I'm going to start with DeMar DeRozan. For your sake, as a lifelong Laker fan, I was happy they did not land DeMar DeRozan. I did not think he was a great fit for you, even though he's from Compton and probably has had a lifelong dream of playing for the Lakers. He's about to be 35 years of age. He is high usage rate. He is a 2-point scorer. I'm just not sure that's exactly what you needed, even though he is a very, very proven commodity. He's going to get you 20-something a game like clockwork, and he will take and make big late-game shots. He's just never been in a real winning situation, even though the Toronto thing would teeter. Okay. But the point was, I just couldn't really see the fit. It's almost like you're adding a name as opposed to a game that fits with your two top 10 players. And I'm happy for Sacramento because they're just desperate. They've missed the playoffs too many. I think it's 8 out of the last 9 years they have missed getting in the tournament. And it's time for them to do something. And so they splashed. And they still have De'Aaron and they got Sabonis. And they said, we just need to put a bigger proven game in the middle of this and see if that'll sort of jumpstart it and it'll make us more viable next year. So I'm happy for them. It cost them Harrison Barnes, who's still a pretty good player. And that was a 3-team trade. So like to your point, you have to work these things. It takes a lot of complexity to make it happen that the Lakers don't have the wherewithal to pull off right now. Okay, now we're back to Klay. I still look back on it and I'm just shocked he didn't choose the Lakers. I am shocked by it. And at first, well, here's the biggest reason I'm shocked is because my man Chris Haynes reported that night that the Lakers offered more money than Dallas did. Mm-hmm. To your point, the lack of state income tax levels the playing field somewhat. But the Lakers still, I think if you boiled it down, and I'm not a mathematician here, but I think the offer, just financial offer, was slightly better L.A., okay? So, Klay, you basically grew up in the Lakers locker room. Your father spent his last 4 years with the Lakers. He wasn't an original Laker pick. He was the first overall pick to Portland, but his father's legendary as a broadcaster for the Lakers, and he's a really, really good man. And yet, when I first heard Dallas, he went to Dallas? And remember, Dallas lost Derrick Jones Jr., and I thought, well, that's some cog out of there who came to the Clippers because they were desperate after they lost Paul George, and they paid a lot, not a lot of money, but pretty good money for Derrick Jones. And I thought he played really well for them down the stretch as a defensive stopper for them a little bit, where he can jump out of the gym, and he made some big threes. So I'm thinking, well, you lost one piece, and yet Klay was perfect for LeBron right now because is there any more proven big stage, big game, catch and shoot three-point shooter than Klay Thompson? I know he got demoted last year in Golden State, but that's what LeBron needs. He needs that guy where you can kick it to him, skip pass it to him, throw it all the way across the formation to him in the far corner, and he'll catch it and rip it. That he can do it because we've seen him do it on the biggest stage so many times. And I'm thinking, it's made. It's like, thank you. So the first thing I thought was, did his father tell him it's just too big a circus right now? And no, and then he said publicly, I begged him. I was on bended knee trying to get my son to come here. Okay. Is it because the one thing about Klay, he never worshipped at the shrine of LeBron. He was the one guy in Golden State who he wouldn't give in to that. Draymond obviously became business partners with LeBron, and Steph would always say all the right things, even though they were competitive for awards and MVPs and whatnot. But Klay was the one who was, I'm not saying he's anti-LeBron. He just doesn't buy completely into all things LeBron. And it's possible he's just saying, you know what? I don't want to be a part of that. And Bronny's going to be in the mix next year, and J.J. Redick's a brand new coach, and he's going to be on a hot seat early on, like who's going to get the minutes. And maybe Klay finally just said, just be happier with these guys. And to your point, they did get farther. They got all the way to the finals, and maybe he's thinking, I could be that last piece to that puzzle. That's the one that could have made you. I'm not saying he's changing your life, but he would have made you better.
But yeah, Klay would have made us better. There's no question about it. Klay had a good look. He had a good season last year. He got demoted, so the first thing they brought him off the bench. So the first thing you bring somebody off the bench, he can't play anymore. He's getting old. That was the narrative. But if you actually watch the games and you actually watch him, he was knocking down shots still. He was still doing things.
He didn't pout. He didn't quit. No. He came on strong.
No. It was just a changing of what they wanted to do. But he eventually got back in the lineup, and he started hitting shots again. I mean, he just did. I would have loved to see him on the Lakers. No question about it. No question about it. That's why I say, who else is out there? Because if there's a Klay Thompson floating around on somebody's team, they're not trying to give him to us. They need him for themselves. The dude averaged 19 last year. It's not like he was averaging 12. So why would they want to give him to us in the trade?
You mean Golden State?
No, anybody that has a Klay Thompson, who has a 20-point score, they're willing to say, here, a knockdown shooter.
Well, like you say, Trae Young. I mean, you have to trade for Trae Young, right? And they just got a lot in return for DeJounte, who was your number one target, right?
Yep.
For weeks we talked about DeJounte, and now he's a Pelican because they had more ammo.
Yes, exactly. And yes, I know why you would have loved Klay Thompson on the team, but it's about what Klay Thompson wants,
question.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, you brought up the coach. I didn't even get to that. But yes, Jason Kidd is an experienced NBA head coach, and that just goes on the list of things the Lakers couldn't change at the bargaining table. This is just the cost of past decisions. The Lakers have a rookie coach, and JJ may end up being a legendary NBA coach, but